Wild ginger, also known as Asarum canadense. This member of the Birthwort family is a creeping perennial which grows in colonies and is found in rich woods and soils and woods near rocks, mountains, and along roadsides. The plant itself grows between 6 inches and a foot tall and has a maroon, red-brown, or purple-brown flower which is in bloom between April and May. The flower has 3 regular parts, meaning lobes or sepals, and is bell-shaped with a 1-inch solitary flower. The plant has basal leaves only, and the leaves are entire, lobed at the base, giving it a cordate or heart-shaped look. The leaves grow in pairs with woolly leaf stalks, and the root is an aromatic rhizome. Warning: wild ginger contains aristolochic acid, a known human carcinogen associated with urethral cancer and permanent kidney damage. Large amounts may nauseate the stomach, and when inflammatory conditions are present, it should be avoided. As for wild ginger's edibility, the root is used as a candy or a spice. You can harvest it from early spring through fall. The rootstock can be dried and ground into a spice or used fresh as a substitute for commercial ginger. The root is not as potent as Asian ginger, so you may want to add more to compensate. As a candy, cut the rootstock into smaller pieces, boil for about an hour to soften the root. While the root is softening, make a sugar syrup, which is 2 cups of sugar to 1 cup of water. Then add the soft roots to the syrup and simmer for another 30 minutes. Separate, dry, and enjoy as a candy. The syrup can be dried and reused as flavored sugar. The Chippewa use the root as a spice and appetizer in cooked meals. The Meskwaki use the root as a seasoning for mud catfish and to make it more palatable by removing the mud taste. They also use the root as a seasoning to cook animals that had died to remove the danger of food poisoning. The Ojibwe used the root as a spice to make any meat more digestible by sick individuals, and the roots were processed in a lye water and used as a seasoning to take the muddy taste out of fish. The Potawatomi used the root as a spice to make inedible fish and other meats more palatable. Now for wild ginger's medicinal properties. The Abnaki Indians used the plant as a cough medicine and made a compound decoction with other plants as a cold remedy. The Algonquin Indians from Quebec used an infusion of the roots as a febrifuge to reduce fevers and as an anticonvulsive for infants. Cherokee used the plant in an infusion to treat several ailments, as an abortifacient and gynecological aid for scant or painful menstruation or to start periods. They also used it as an antidiarrheal, febrifuge to reduce fever, for typhus fever, and a compound infusion was used for poor digestion. The plant, as a sedative, the leaves, roots, or flower blossoms were used for hysterical or nervous stability. As a gastrointestinal aid and analgesic, a pain-relieving medicine, a decoction of the plant was used to cause vomiting because of stomach pains. An infusion of the whole plant was used as a wash for swollen breast. Fresh leaves were applied to wounds, and a liquid or a salve from the leaves were used on sores as a dermatological aid. A snuff of the dried leaves were used for head and eye ailments, and the roots were used for colds, coughs, as a powerful stimulant, and to expel worms. An infusion of the roots were used for heart trouble, and a compound infusion was used for blood. The Chippewa combined the roots of wild ginger with other herbs to act as a adjuvant to strengthen the medicinal effects of the other herbs on the body. As a dermatological aid, the roots were used for bruises and contusions. A compound poultice of the chopped roots were used and applied to inflammations, used on fractured bones, and as an orthopedic aid. The roots were also cooked with foods to aid in the digestion as a gastrointestinal aid. The Iroquois used wild ginger as an adjuvant, meaning it may be added to all kinds of medicine to make them stronger. The root has been used as an analgesic, cathartic, cold remedy, cough medicine, diaphoretic, pediatric aid, respiratory aid, stimulant, tonic, and urinary aid. In a compound decoction, it has been used as an anticonvulsive, antiemetic, blood medicine, cough medicine, dermatological aid, febrifuge, pediatric aid, stimulant, tonic, and venereal aid. As an adjuvant, analgesic, febrifuge, or tonic remedy for headaches in children with fevers, smash 3 3-inch long roots and add to 1 quart of cold water. Steep for 20 minutes and then take when necessary. For a febrifuge remedy, steep 4 roots 2 inches long in half a quart of water for 5 minutes. Take half a cup before meals, lie down, cover up, and sweat. Repeat 2 to 3 times per day. For urinary aid remedy, add 4 roots to 1.5 quart water and boil down to half. Add a little dirt from an anthill and drink as much as possible, often. As a pediatric anticonvulsive remedy, make flour using the roots of wild ginger and spring beauty. Add 1 teaspoon of each root to 4/5 a gallon of water. Boil, cool, and take a teaspoon often. The Malachite Indians used an infusion of small roots for children with cramps as a gastrointestinal and pediatric aid. The Menominee used the fresh or dried root as a mild stomatic for weak stomachs. As a gastrointestinal aid, a decoction of the root was used for indigestion. The Meskwaki used the root as an adjuvant, analgesic, and as an ear medicine by placing the root in the ear for earaches. In a compound, it was used for stomach cramps, lung trouble, sore throats, and as an antidote for food poisoning. The Micmac used the root as an analgesic, gastrointestinal aid, tonic, and a stomatic for cramps. The Ojibwe chewed the root as an appetite stimulant and used an infusion of the root for stomach pain. The Potawatomi used the root to keep food in the stomach as an antiemetic. Now, according to the King's American Dispensatory, larger doses are likely to irritate the stomach and cause nausea. Avoid when inflammation of the stomach exists. Now, the medicinal parts are the root, and the solvent is boiling water. The plant's actions are carminative, diaphoretic, diuretic, emagogue, tonic, exfoliant, and stimulant. Other than wild ginger's edible and medicinal properties, it has been used as an incense. The Chippewa slightly roasted the roots and made it into a powder, then sprinkled it on clothing as perfume.